Welcome to Days at Dogwood Canyon, a nature podcast brought to you by Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center in Cedar Hill, Texas. This is a podcast that will take you into our 200-acre wildlife preserve in the heart of the DFW Metroplex. Take a quick weekly break with us and get outside with the fresh air, the trees, and of course, the birds. My name is Kiersten, and I'm Center Coordinator Community Programs here at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. Welcome, listeners, to our Days at Dogwood Canyon podcast. This is a podcast about nature, birds, plants, and us. We will talk about how we all rely on each other to live our best lives. In this episode, we're going to talk about a super fun and super important community science project in which we've just gotten involved at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. Time to Restore is a community science project connecting people, plants, and pollinators. I heard about this program at Texas Women's University Wildflower Day Symposium in April of 2025, and I knew immediately that we needed to hop on board this pollinator train. As many of you know, restoring native plant habitat is incredibly important to support our local pollinators, birds, reptiles, and mammals. Audubon supports this movement with our Plants for Birds program, and we here at Dogwood Canyon host native plant sales twice a year. Many other organizations across the country are also supporting this important movement. But while increasing the amount of native plants thriving in our habitats is the goal, if we really want this effort to make a difference, we need a bit more information. That's where Time to Restore comes in. Time to Restore was organized by a team of collaborators from the Bosque Ecosystem Monitoring Program, the Tribal Alliance for Pollinators, the Gulf Coast Phenology Trail, and the USA National Phenology Network, and is supported by a grant from the South Central Climate Adaptation Science Center. If you've never heard of any of these organizations, don't worry. You're not the only one. I'd never heard of them either. The end goal of Time to Restore is to provide guidance to those of us that are working to restore pollinator habitat in the South Central region of the United States, including New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. They want our restoration projects to succeed, and there are many challenges to pollinator-focused restoration. We need to know what species to plant to provide nectar during critical periods throughout the year. We need to know how the plant species are responding to changes in our climate. We need better knowledge about flowering and seed timing for critical nectar plants and how these activities are being shaped by the current climate. With this information, we can provide more resilient restoration planting to ensure a successful future for wildlife and ourselves. So what Time to Restore is asking of us is to help them monitor the native plants that are growing all around us. Now, don't worry, they don't want us to watch every single plant around our homes, businesses, or nature preserves. There are specific plants that are of significant importance to pollinators that they want us to focus on. The original 8 plants that they picked to focus on are wild bergamot, tall blazing star, purple coneflower, buttonbush, antelope horn, showy milkweed, cardinal flower, and common sunflower. These plants are the focus across all 4 states. Now, as the saying goes, everything's bigger in Texas, and that includes the state itself. Now, keeping this in mind, the Time to Restore team expanded the focus plants to include 29 species of plants just for the state of Texas. And the reason they did this was to include all the ecoregions of Texas. For this project to work, people need to have easy access to the plants they will monitor. This sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? That's exactly what I thought. Now, my second thought after that was, how can we at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center get involved with this program, and how can I, on a personal level, get involved? Thank goodness this was a live lecture, and I was able to ask David Gwynn, the Texas State Coordinator for Time to Restore, my questions. So he explained what Time to Restore is asking people to do with their community science program. They want us to monitor one of the plants on the list for an entire year. Now, I know that's a long time, but David Gwynn had a bit of advice for starting out. First, pick a plant that you have easy and consistent access to. Something in your yard, something at work, something at a nature preserve nearby, or on something on your favorite hiking, biking trail. Some place that is easy for you to get to with a minimal amount of effort. Second, start off with 1 or 2 plants. Do not overwhelm yourself. It can be intensive working with too many plants at one time. Set yourself up for success. I started off with 2 plants in my front yard, a wild bergamot and a purple coneflower. The plants you pick can be either wild or purposefully planted by humans. Both of my plants were ones that I put into my flower bed in front of the house. The information that Time to Restore is looking for can be obtained through wild or cultivated plants because they are looking for the time of year that the different stages of the plant's life cycle begins. When is the plant sprouting? When is it flowering? When is it fruiting? When is it dropping its leaves and preparing for winter? So how do we report these observations? One of 2 ways you can document everything is with iNaturalist. If you already have that app, kudos to you. Just join the Time to Restore project and it will automatically grab the information that you post. Or you can download the free Nature's Notebook app and post information directly into the Time to Restore project. I use the Nature's Notebook app. I have 1 account and I post the data for the plants at my house, and I also chose to do 2 plants at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. So my second question for David was, how can Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center help Time to Restore? And he told me that we could establish a local phenology program project and make our preserve discoverable by community members. And that's what we did. If you join Time to Restore through Nature's Notebook, you can search for us, Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center, and then we can set it up for you to watch one of our plants at the preserve. So for those of you that visit us often, this could be a great way to help advance our knowledge of our local flora. You don't have to come every single day. You just have to make maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. The 2025 graduating class of the North Texas Master Naturalists just planted a pollinator garden in front of our building, and they need a few watchful eyes to catalog the plant's development. This could be the perfect place for you to start. If this program sounds like something you'd like to participate in, I will leave links in the show notes, and we will be hosting a how-to workshop in the future. So keep your eyes on our event page to find out when. I hope to see you all out at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center soon, picking some plants to monitor for the Time to Restore project.